All right, welcome everyone. This is AJ Wustefeld with NinjaTrader Brokerage, and I'm here today with Walter Galwas of iSystems, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar on Diversify Your Trading with NinjaTrader with systems through NinjaTrader. Before we get started, we have a quick couple risk disclaimers to go through. Futures, foreign currency, and options trading contains substantial risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Full risk disclosure can be found at the site given there. Also, CFTC Rule 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. So as I mentioned, I have Walter Galwas here with me, who is going to discuss the iSystems software in depth and get into all the various ways you can search and find a trading system that's right for you. As the webinar proceeds, please feel free to type any questions you have into the room, and Walter or myself will do our best to answer them. To start off, I wanted to give everyone just a quick overview of systems in general and some of the advantages of trading with them. First and foremost, what are systems? Systems are optimized algorithmic strategies, essentially a set of specific rules or criteria that are used to trigger the immediate execution of a trade in the market. The rules for algorithmic systems are constructed using technical analysis tools. What that means is typically one or more indicators will be combined to create a rule, and the system will automatically trigger an execution, such as entering an order, when the rule criteria is met. It is a combination of all these different kinds of parameters or rules that constitutes a trading system and determines the entry and exit point for all trades placed using the system. So what are the reasons you should consider adding systems to your portfolio? Three of the biggest reasons to trade systems with NinjaTrader are diversification, convenience, and transparency. First, we'll look at diversification. Systems give you the opportunity to participate in markets that you may not have a lot of experience in, but would like to get some exposure to. For example, if you regularly trade the S&P 500 and would like exposure to crude oil, systems trading gives you the ability to find a crude oil system that runs on established parameters while you take the time to learn more about the product. Systems also gives you the opportunity to run two or more strategies on the same product at the same time, giving you the ability to test different approaches in the same market. For current NinjaTrader customers, you can choose a system to run while also entering orders manually through your own NinjaTrader platform, thus allowing you to trade in different markets simultaneously. Also, systems typically have a low correlation to traditional investments such as stocks and bonds, thus allowing you to add further diversification to your overall investment portfolio. Next, we'll look at convenience. One of the things NinjaTrader is known for is our automated trading strategies and NinjaScript programming. However, if you simply don't have the time to sit down and program yourself, or don't know how to, system trading gives you an opportunity to get into automated trading with no programming required. What this means is you get all the benefits of an automated strategy, automated order entry and trade management, full back testing, a chance to get away from your computer, all without the hours of development time required to program your own strategy from scratch. For busy traders, this can be a huge time saver. You can focus on additional analysis on your preferred instrument, learn different products, or even enjoy time away from the screen, all while still participating in the futures markets. Last is transparency. So Walter Galwas will discuss this in depth shortly, but in my opinion, this is one of the best features of the NinjaTrader iSystems offering, and that's transparency. Because all of the systems are designed using rules-based approach, They are fully searchable by the criteria you select. You can search by a number of factors, including the markets traded, total P&L, required capital, performance metrics and ratios, etc. Because of this, you can choose the system or systems that are right for you. All systems have back-tested, tracked, and live trading results available to view in detail, including yearly, monthly, daily, and even trade-by-trade performance. All performance is net of all fees, so you can accurately track the P&L. Additionally, you can turn any system on and off at your discretion with no lock-in periods or delays. Some customers allow the system to do all the trading and are completely hands-off. If a customer goes that route, it removes all the emotion from trading and allows you to avoid second-guessing your decision-making. Other customers prefer to trade the system, so to speak, activating and deactivating the systems based on market conditions. So it can be used similarly to a self-directed account in that regard. The flexibility is there to allow you to be as involved or as hands-off as you want. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Walter Galwas from iSystems, who will get into the details of the software and all its capabilities.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. That was a good intro. My name's Walter. I'm one of the original developers of iSystems. I've been in the industry since the mid-90s. I moved to Chicago after I had sold a company in college where I had a business plan and was fairly successful. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but moreover, moving to Chicago, I started in the trading pits. I had 3 older brothers down there, so I did just about everything. So I really learned the business from the ground up. When I left the trading floor, I was a broker, and it was an interesting time because I had a badge, and I knew the grain markets, but I always felt that it was very difficult to get my clients to be consistent on their trading, and so that's where I went back to when I was in college. I wrote a business plan. I followed my business plan, and so I thought, how do I bring that to trading? Because a lot of traders, especially in my experiences, they have a plan, but then they always do something different. I'm going to take a little more profit. I'm going to take a little more loss, and it's always that I'm going to do something more or the other. And I saw in the trading pits where I'd watch a guy always be consistent. He'd hold on one trade too long. He ended up blowing out his account, or vice versa. He got lucky, held on to the trade, and it went on to make him a lot of money. Then he was doomed because the next time he's always going to hold on to that trade too long. And so I started researching systems, because if I had a plan for my clients and then followed them, that's the best way for them. So take the human emotions out of it. And so back in the day, we would get systems, we'd load them on our machines, we would then follow them for clients, and we'd follow them verbatim under what's called a letter of direction. And so, we were told to follow the systems, and since I had all my own brokers and all the pits, execution was important, but it was still a very manual process. As technology evolved, we started developing some mobile trading software, and that's really what got us back into iSystems. So iSystems we've been developing for really about 15 years. You probably haven't heard about it over the last few years because we kept it internal until now. We started working with NinjaTrader to offer it to their clients. And I touch on that because the software goes back many years. We've gone through lots of hoops, lots of different experiences to bring you what we have today. And so I'll start going through the systems, and here, there's a few different pages. This is the top 10 page, and so you can always come here, and this is live data. So this is the top 10 systems of today. It shows you the current positions, and everything is 100% transparent and 100% liquid, which we'll touch on in a little bit. But now you can easily look at and say, okay, well, here's the top 10. Here's the top 10 from the previous session. This is a very popular place because clients can come in and say, okay, well, the Dow is up a lot yesterday or down a lot yesterday, and they can instantly see what were the most successful systems. We also break it down to last month, and this is the last 30 days or whatever, so it's not the month to month. We do it last year, and we also do since inception or back to 01, depending on the back testing. And that's important because now you can really get a screenshot of what's happening in the current environment. When you go into Explore Systems, so this is really where it all comes together. So right now we're running 1,369 systems. What makes us unique is when a developer comes to us, and I'll get into the back testing, is they have to physically give us the system. So this isn't a situation where they're sending a signal from a basement to a server to an FCM. They have to give us the system. We run then all the back testing. So everything you see, we have run. Like if they send us performance, we disregard it. I mean, it has to fit our criteria, which we'll get into, but it's something that's very important to us because if they don't give us the system, if we can't run it 24 hours a day, we're not interested, especially with also the fees involved with neta fees, which is also important because that was another thing we always ran into in the past is someone would send us a system, show us this performance. They weren't including commissions, they weren't including slippage, they weren't including the cost of the system. So, I always kind of get back to where you're buying a car without, putting new tires on it or putting gas in it. This feature, so you can really, you could really break down the systems any way you like and you can sort. What's important is the filter system, how to filter them. So here, we've got some standing filters. So if you star a system as your favorite, you can sort by your favorites right away. Here, track since inception, has clients, worst drawdown. But more importantly, you can come in here and say, okay, I want to look at, out of the 1,300 systems, I want to look at only the crude oil and E-mini systems. And so you can select these two, add it to your filter, and so out of the 1,300 systems, I have 259 systems that trade just those two markets. There you can filter over the top of that. So you can say, okay, last 3 months profit. So you can come in, you can come in and then say, I want to only see the systems that have been profitable. So out of all those systems, there's 149 systems. So here's where you can really start breaking down what you're looking for. Because a lot of people will say, well, I'm looking for the best profit factor, the best, the Sortino ratio, the Sharpe ratio. If they have clients, you can sort by that. So this is where you can really dive in to sort by what you're looking for. But always remember, if you don't clear your filter, you won't be able to see all the systems again. As you select a system, you can select any system, and then the performance is going to pop up. So I already grabbed a couple of systems. So here, this is a battle. So every performance sheet is set up the exact same way. And so every time you look at a sheet, you can instantly know all the information. So this system is Battle Quant. It's an E-mini NASDAQ future system. It's an intraday system, and we only trade futures. We do not trade options. And we only trade exchange-traded futures, so no FX, nothing like that. Here, it's an intraday system. So an intraday system is a system that never carries a position overnight. It's always out by the end of the day. The cost of the system is $125 a month. And you can see all these bullet points all over the place. This will give you more statistics or the definitions of what we're talking about. So it really helps. And as we design this platform, I always I always refer back to the iPad or the iPhone. There's no user manual. So we try to make it so as intuitive as possible for people to look at this and say, okay, this makes sense, or I bet you the answer is there somewhere. If there's questions, obviously the guys at Ninja are here to help you, but we feel we've tackled that pretty well. The lease fee is per contract. So, and we also prorate that. So let's just say this lease fee was $100 a month. So it's the 15th of the month, you activate the system. At the end of the month, we'll charge you $50 for the prior month. If the system is still active, we'll charge you for the entire next month. So we prorate the first month going in. We can't prorate the second month because we pull the fees directly from your trading account and we send it to the developer. So we take care of all that. There's no credit cards, there's nothing like that. So people ask, well, what's the lockup period? Do I have to buy the system up front for a year? No. If you quit the next month on the 15th, you're only out 15 days. So you're only out to the end of the month. Here you can start jumping into all sorts of statistics. Total P&L, profit factor. One thing I look at, I always focus on the drawdowns, the current drawdown, the worst session. I like systems that are in drawdowns personally because I think that's the best chance if you can start them in a drawdown and they can trade up to equity highs. It's like buying a system at a discount. There's no guarantee it's going to trade to equity highs. You might never see a new profit. You might see a new drawdown again. But that's just for me. If I buy something in a drawdown, it makes me feel more comfortable getting in. And we'll talk about choosing a system in a little bit, because a lot of people have different philosophies on choosing a system, and they're all different. You know, some of my clients like to see brand new systems because they think that the systems in general have been curve fit to the market. So if they get into a system when it's been curve fit, they think it's going to work for the next 3 to 4 months because the market conditions might change. You know, for me, I look at the drawdown aspect more than that, because we net all the fees even when we're testing our hypothetical. The other statistic is the percent time in the market. And so this system's only in the market 15% of the time. So it picks its moments, it picks its times, and it's a pure intraday system. The worst drawdown is the peak to valley drawdown. So again, you can look at the statistic to see what it is. The current drawdown, it'll tell you when it was, the worst session, and the average losing session. And so when you look at the chart up here, you can also minimize and grab to look at the statistics a little bit closer. As we get to the bottom part, and this is where really everything kind of comes together for us. So this system, and I don't know how good the colors are, but the white from February of 2017, the white is all back tested. So what does that exactly mean? That means the system was given to us. We put it on our servers, which we have in Chicago. We also have them around the world, but our main servers are in Chicago. We co-locate with CQG and the CME. CQG is a trading, well, it's a trading platform, but they also have what's called an API, so we can route orders directly to your account individually. So from there, it's been given to us. We run the back test. When we run the back test, we take into consideration 3 critical factors of cost: the cost of the system, and you can see the very first day on any track record, there's the cost of the system coming out of the account, because that's a true fact, that's a true price. I mean, it's something you have to take into consideration. We also take into consideration slippage. Slippage is what we have gotten in the market. Slippage is basically, if we get an order to buy at 10 and it's 10 bid at 11, right, I have to pay 11, so I'm buying at 11. So that's a 1 point slippage, $1 slippage. So every single trade, we factor that in. So in all of our back testing, we've factored in, what, $11.16 a round turn in slippage. From there, we also take into consideration commission. Commission on this E-mini system, E-mini NASDAQ, is $7.50 a side. That's all in. So we've tried to take it and be as net as possible as we can. The yellow is tracked. So now that's when we're tracking the system. No one's trading the system. We're grabbing the fills and we're tracking it. We're still taking into consideration slippage. We're still taking into consideration the cost of the system and commission. Green is when we have live clients trading it. So this particular system, we've been live for, what, almost 2 years. So that's when clients are taking every single trade. And we post that in the trade log. So the trade log will show you what the order is. And this trade log is not live. We update it at the end of business every day of all the systems. So if you're following a system, you can log in at, depending on where you are, we do it between 4 and 5 o'clock Chicago time. So you'll be able to follow along with the system, but it will show you what the order was. It'll show you the volume, what the open position is, the hypothetical, and then here's important. So you get positive and negative slippage when you trade. So when we show that, so here we had a sell stop at 39.5. We got filled average price 37, and then we show the best and the worst fill. So you will always be filled between the best and the worst fill. We fire all orders at random, and so if a client's been on the platform for 5 years or a client's been on the platform since 2 days ago, there's no seniority, if you will, to the orders. All orders are fired at random and they're fired independently. And so if I have 10 Ninja clients or whatever on it, and if you're trading at Phillips or at Dorman, we file the orders independently into your account. And that's important because there's no block trading, there's no give up trading, there's no extra cost to come into that. The only cost that a client will ever have is the commission when we execute a signal, or is when the lease fee on a monthly basis. And so this is a way for clients to track what we post on our website, because that's very, very important to us. And I'll come back to the trade log. But here, we tell clients, look, if you took every single trade in February and you did not deviate from the system. And deviating from the system is a pure luxury that clients love, but what that means is, let's say the system's making $500. And you say, you know what, I think the market's going to roll over, whatever your thing, it's going to be a full moon, or there's an announcement coming out, you can take profits instantly. And you can lock in that $500, and then we'll show you if the system goes on to make 1,000 or goes on to lose 500, we'll show you how you either outperformed or underperformed the system. So that's a pretty cool feature. So it shows you, but what's great about it is, as far as our track record is, if you look at your statement and you look at our website, there's going to be no material change. So you can, it's not trust our data, because we show the good, the bad, the ugly, we show everything. But that it's not going to be, oh, I lost $1,200 and you're showing up $1,000. Well, now you've lost confidence in the platform, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is confidence in the platform, because at the end of the day, my job isn't for my clients to make money, right? It's not Ninja's job. It's not, our job is for you to have confidence in what you're investing in. Whether you make money or lose money, that things are going to line up correctly. And that's important, because again, how you pick a system and the philosophy of how you pick a system can be different. And clients pick systems for all different reasons, like we talked about. Whether they have clients, they're making money, they're in drawdowns, they're new systems. That's something that will just evolve of how you like to put your portfolio together. Just also too of the risk that you have. That some people like to over leverage themselves and some people like to under leverage themselves. Well, that's going to give you different returns in your account, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So stop real quick. Any questions that you see, AJ? We good?
Yeah, we got a couple that came in here. David J asks, so you offer all of these systems?
Correct. So once you have access to Correct. Once you have access to the website, so basically, and I'm going to jump forward, but you open up an account at Ninja, we give you access to iSystems, you get a user and password, then at that point you can go in and you can trade one system or 100 systems in the one account. You can activate them anytime you want. You have 24-hour liquidity, 24-hour transparency. So that's where you can come in and do anything that you like. Trade any Forex systems, just exchange traded futures.
Right, that was Vanessa B's question. Also, Gene D asks, any way one can see a system in action in current markets?
Only you can, no. So you can, we do 1 day behind on performance, because we don't want people piggybacking us. When you're live, which we'll show you, if you activate a system, you'll see that current position, and it'll give you options whether you want to get in right away, next trade, or wait till next signal. So here, and then
next. I'm sorry, continue.
So here, the trade log. Let's go back to that real quick. So this is where we even come to more transparency. Here on the bottom left, we give you the ability to download every single trade in a spreadsheet. So if you want to say, okay, what happened in the flash crash? What happened at some date? You can go back and see exactly what the system did. And again, that's kind of our way of even being more transparent. Look at the trades, and people ask me, well, are people going to try to reverse engineer your systems, or are they going to try to, again, that's why we don't show them live. Piggyback the trades, not pay you. I tell you, you know what? It's nearly impossible, and now you're going to miss trades because, and I've seen it done. I've had clients call me and tell me, actually, look, I was only trading one lot with you. I was trying to trade 10 over another account, and it was a disaster. I missed the stop. I lost $10,000. I should have been out and lost 100. What you guys offer as far as transparency and liquidity is worth every penny, and so that's where we try to stay as transparent as we can. The session log then breaks down the sessions. And again, here, and this really means more when you have a swing system, because look, you can see EOD, end of day, we're never in a position. So here you can break down all the session logs to see how they performed on the specific day, which is important. As I move up here, so now as you get into here, it'll show you total P&L from when we started testing it, since we've tracked it, since we've been live. And again, this is after all costs, the worst drawdown, and this is what people always gloss over. Because people, oh, I see it made money. Oh, but you have to look at the worst case scenario. Drawdowns happen. I always tell people there's a new drawdown in front of us, and hopefully there's a new equity high in front of us. And the chart will tell you that. There's periods of drawdown where you can see, as we went from September of 2017 to the beginning of 2018, we were in a drawdown. And that's where you have to also be patient with the system. Was the system broken? No. Was it in a drawdown? Yes. And I tell people, if they're going to start a system, a lot of clients are like, well, I want to get email alerts of every trade, and I want to know this, want to know that. Well, no, you're picking and choosing trades now. It's you got to let a system. It's a 2 to 3 year cycle on an investment. Just like the stock market, arguably is a 5 to 10 year cycle. And that's another thing. When clients look at choosing a system, I'm like, well, you've chosen the system because of the performance. Whether it's in a drawdown or anything like that. But so now, why are you cherry picking the trades going forward when you never cherry the trades going backwards? I always find, I have very few clients that, unless they have a systematic way of starting and stopping the system, they typically end up hurting themselves and get too emotional to the trading or over leveraging themselves, where letting the system do its thing is always the best thing. Now, does that mean you're going to be profitable? No, by all means, absolutely not. But at least you're consistent in your trading, because if you read any trade book, any market wizard, anything out there, it's always consistency, right? And it's always being able to trade the next day. If you over leverage yourself and you're over trading and you're being too aggressive, this isn't Vegas. This is investing. This is following rules. And that's, again, there's no human involved in anything we're doing. Everything we do is 100% systematic. And I'll touch on the new versions in a minute. Here, the suggested capital and required capital. So these are numbers that we come up with. And again, you can read the definition when you scroll over the plus sign. So the suggested capital is what we suggest. Not the developer, not anyone else. And we have an algorithmic way to come up with that number. The required capital is what we require you have to have in the account in order to be able to trade the system. On a day trade system, at the end of the day, we look at the account. And this is pre-risk. So if at the beginning of this day you had $3,000 in the account, you'll be able to take tomorrow's trade. At the end of the day, if you've got $2,500 in the account, you will automatically be deactivated, and you'll be sent an email that you've been deactivated for insufficient funds. Just like you're always sent an email when you start or stop a system. And if you guys haven't seen the PDF that Ninja has, I highly recommend that you contact your rep or AJ, and at the end he'll show you some contact info, because that PDF really, really spells out everything we're talking about today, from start to finish of what you get, of the email communications that you get to the options of starting and stopping a system. And I'm going to show you all that, but that really gives a good summary. So the required capital is set in stone. So the broker has no control over that. And I know there's experienced traders I'm talking to and some that aren't experienced, but you can't call up like back in the day, oh, I'm going to be on margin call, I'm going to send you a wire, don't blow me out, you're out. Like, we are 100% systematic. And personally, if you're trading that close to required capital, you shouldn't be trading futures, because you've got to always be able to take into consideration the worst drawdown, if that makes sense. And that's why we build our suggested capital so high, because we want to take into consideration that you want to be able to take the next trade. You want to be able to be in the market. If you over leverage yourself and you're trading too aggressive, again, you should not be trading futures. And that's part of this whole discussion too. As we go through this webinar and you guys contact Ninja and look at the PDF, if you decide this isn't right for you, we feel we're doing our job as well. Trading futures, yes, there's risk, there's disclaimers, you got to understand it, but at the same time, if we bring you in and you love the platform and you're going to trade on it for years, great. If we bring you in and you say, you know what, I only have $2,000, the required capital is, this isn't for me, but thanks for the presentation. Again, we feel like we're doing our job. Here to jump over, so here's a swing system. And now, I jumped over here because we'll talk about the required capital, but here's the same thing, same setup. It was given to us in 2014. There's a hypothetical track record. And what do we know about the hypothetical and the track performance? We take into consideration the slippage, the cost of the system, and the commission. The commission on this, so it's the same thing. You can come up here. Here's the developer. Here's the E-mini Dow futures. It's a swing system, $60 a month. And you can then break into the statistics, winning session, losing session, your commission. But again, it's been given to us in 2014. Then it was tracked for over a year and a half. For some reason, no one traded it. I don't know why. There's no reason for it. It's just no one jumped on it. In 2015, clients started trading it. So we've been live for whatever, almost 4 years or so, a little less than that. And so this is where, and again, this is when someone has taken every single system on the fills that we capture. So if someone in the middle of the month stops or does something like that, that's not part of our track record. That's part of their track record, which I'll show you, but it's not part of ours that we're showing. So here, again, it shows you all the profit loss. You can click on every month. You can see what the trades are. You can see the cost, the session log, and the session log on swing systems is a little more important because here it can show that it's been, well, right now it's flat, but it'll hold the position for a while, and it'll show you, how much it might have been against it at some point or how much it had been for it at another time. The required capital, so if we jump back up here, so now you guys know the statistics. So the required capital is $8,100. The margin to hold the Dow overnight is, I don't know, it's like $5,000 or $6,000. So which tells me that you have, for our rules, we don't look at the overnight margin. We look at our rules. And our rules take into consideration also the worst session, and we use a code to come up with that. So here, if it's the required capital, if your required capital drops below the, if your money drops below the required capital, again, we automatically deactivate you on the next market open. So we take into consideration that daily volatility. So people will say, well, I still had margin. You still had margin to technically hold the position, but not for our rules. And again, I tell clients, if you're trading so tight to the market on required capital, you shouldn't be trading futures anyways. Because again, now you're not taking into consideration the drawdown, and you're set up to fail. So does that make sense? So it's important. So now as we start today, at the end of the day, you had $8,500 in the account. You can still hold your position. At the end of tomorrow, if you've got $8,000 in the account, you are automatically deactivated, and we send you an email saying that you've been deactivated for insufficient funds. The next question I get is, okay, what if I'm trading 5 different systems and my total required capital is $25,000? And they're all at different levels, and my account drops to $24,000. What do you guys do? Again, we are 100% systematic by nature. We will deactivate the newest system that you have activated. And we deactivate the entire system. So if you're trading 3 contracts, we don't deactivate 1 contract, we deactivate all of them. And so, because our train of thought is you're going to want to always trade the older systems you've been trading and deactivate the newer systems that we've been trading. So I hope that makes sense, because that's kind of an important point, because we've got clients that trade a lot of systems, and then if they get deactivated, they had plenty of money because we take into consideration the required capital, whether it's a day trade or a swing trade. So we'll go back to so let's just do this right now. So here, so this system is currently locked. So if you want to activate the system, it's basically a 2-step process. I want to buy the lease. So here you are agreeing, and this is if we can get into multiple contracts, which we'll talk about later, because everything we do, everything you look at is based off 1 contract. There is no money management. So everything's 1 contract, 1 unit. There are a couple that we say 1 unit because there are a couple systems that will trade 2 contracts at a time, and you can see that in the session log. But most of it's 1 contract or 1 unit. But everything we base, so there's no, after we're up 5,000, do we add another contract or anything like that. There's no money management, because we know, the best thing to do is to give clients, here are the numbers, here's what we look at. Because if you go back to this, our total percentage over here, all these percentages are based off 1 contract and based off suggested capital. So everything we do, we don't look at the required capital and the percentages. It's always based off suggested capital and 1 contract. But if I go back here, so here you're agreeing to pay the system. There are developers that will give you discounts if you trade more than 5 units. Even if there isn't a flex thing here, typically all developers, if a client's going to trade 5 to 10 units, they will give you a discount. And so if you're ever at that point where you're going to increase your trading, let the guys at Ninja know. I can let you know the discount. Typically it's going to be about 10 to 20% off what the lease fees are. So here I want to subscribe now. So now you're agreeing to pay $60 a month, and here's the disclaimer, which everyone should read. I know most people kind of gloss over them, but it's important to know what you're getting into, to read all the disclaimers. You accept the disclaimer, and so now it's going to say, okay, you've activated the system. What do you want to do with it? So now you have the right to trade the system. You've purchased it. What do you want to do with it? Well, I want to activate it. So now is when it's going to tell you if it's in a position. So right now it's currently flat. And so it's going to ask you, do you want to get in immediate? Well, there's only one way to get in immediate, because it's flat, because there wouldn't be a next signal. But here's where, and that's where that PDF, which AJ will send to all of you, because it'll tell you. So if it was currently in a position, it's going to ask you, do you want to get in better? Do you want to get in on next signal? So it's going to ask you, well, it's trading 10 and we're trading 12. Do you want to get in now with 2 points already, in the profit, or do you want to wait till it gets back to your price, or do you want to get in on next signal? And this feature is used a lot, because a lot of clients will come in and say, okay, they might take profits in the middle of the day of the system. Then they'll go back in and reactivate it right away and say, okay, I want to get in on the next session or the next trade. So they don't want to be in today's trade anymore, but they want to be in tomorrow's trade. So you don't have to wait till tomorrow to reactivate the system. You can come in and put a condition on the system to activate on the next trade. So here I'm going to activate immediately. You accept the disclaimer. And so if it was in a position, like there would already be in your account, everything would be set. And then now we'll go over to My System page. So now here's the My System page. So here's, once you get access to the account, you're going to come into this page where this is going to show you all the systems that you have trading. And so this is where you can come in and start and stop a system. So as an example, like here's a gold system I'm currently short. So you can come in and say, okay, you know what, I want to stop the strategy. So again, a next market order, or don't take any more entries after this trade is closed. So it's going to give you options, because the market's not open right now. It's going to give you options on what to do. So if the market was open, it would ask if you want to get out immediately. Well, I want to get out on the next market open. So now I've deactivated the system, and it's going to get flat on next market open. And now you can see I've set a condition. So when you ever have yellow lights over here, it has a condition for you. So this is a lot of times, again, a lot of people use it on next session because, if they want to get out of a trade and they're going to be leaving or not going to be looking at the market for the rest of the day, but still want to get on tomorrow's trade, they can do that. So that's a cool feature, and people really like that. Let's find something in the market. I don't think anything's open right now. What time is 4 o'clock? So here we've got all sorts of different systems that are open. So this is currently long. So and as you look at any of these systems, you can always click on them. And again, here is the performance page that you see the exact same. So this is a DAX Kennedy. The DAX is the European market. It's an index. And it's a swing system, 140 a month. Well, you can see, obviously, the system has a lot more risk reward to it, where so naturally your required capital is going to be higher than your suggested capital. But let's just say you're looking at the system, so you can activate them from either two spots, one from the screen here, from the performance sheet, or you can do it from the top 10. So if I want to come in, I want to buy the license. I'm going to do 1 unit. You're going to accept the disclaimer. So again, now you've purchased the system. What do you want to do with it? So I want to enter at better price. I want to do next entry or on market open. So again, now it's almost having a conversation with you. And this is back in my old days when we used to run a trading desk of like 30 feet long. We'd have, tons of monitors, and clients would call in and be like, hey, I want to activate the system. And this is how we evolved. It was like, well, we're trading, 1250. In the market, the system's long from 1245. Do you want to get in now? You're missing 5 points, or do you want to get on the next entry? So all of this came from having conversations with clients. So here we'll just get in on, at better or at the price. And so what this means, enter at or better the entry price. So right now it's currently short at 11,449. So it's only going to get in at that price or higher since I'm short. Right? So if the market opens at 1114.50, it will get in. If it opens at 1114.40, we're going to wait until that comes up to the next price. So here again, accept the disclaimer. And so if the market was open, I would have sold one at the market if I did it immediately, and instantly stops and everything else is processed directly into your account. And then your My Systems page, we'll go back over here, your My Systems page changes. So now you've got your DAX Kennedy in there and it's going to get in. So this is kind of where everything happens, and people will say, okay, well here, I'm trading gold, you know, you know, can I trade gold in the same account? Well, because if I'm long one and short one, it's going to cancel itself out. Well, yes, it is, but it's still net going to be the same. It's like when I used to count trades with my brother on the floor. You know, sure. So one system might be short, one might be long. Well, they're going to trade independently. The long one is going to get out, and then it's going to net put you short. So all the P&L will be the same. So you don't need separate accounts to trade, and everything will always be done through the platform. So if you can't go into like the NinjaTrader platform to go into like, oh, I want to get out of gold, I'm going to go buy gold in the market on the platform. Everything has to be done through iSystems, because that's how we track the trade. Just like if a lot of you have your own personal accounts right now, you're going to have to open up a related account and put money in it, and then that's my iSystems account. So that's where we read the balances, that's where we read everything. Another important thing to point out is there's no data fees, because we're not supplying data to you. So our only costs that you'll ever see are the two costs. It's going to be your commission or your lease fee. So that's important, because we get that question a lot. Well, I have to pay extra data fees. Where are those? No, you don't, because we're not giving you data. You know, we're giving you signals. And that's another thing. This is also a self-directed account, because you have control over the account. You know, yes, you can call up you know, the Ninja, and if you're away from your computer and, hey, I'm in the Dow system, I want to get out, they can help you and do it for you. But, you know, everything is going to be done for you on a self-directed basis. But it's 100% managed for you by the computers. So here, and let me talk about, so I'm in a demo account, so I can't show you these different fields, but I pulled them up here. So here's your fills. So this was a live account I screenshot today. So when you click on fills, it's going to show you the system, it's going to show you the time, the date, what the order was, and how it's been executed. So it's going to give you everything that you can see, and you can also select by different product, by the system, and you can select all history, current session, yesterday. Again, here's where the transparency comes in, also shows you the commission. If you had active orders, it's going to show you what active orders are working. So some of the systems, like, so we always have stops, right? But some systems are market orders if a certain level is breached. And so that's why sometimes you might not see all the orders working, but we always have orders that are in the market, if that makes sense. And that's another thing too, when you come in here and you're doing iSystems, so you can never go in, if you wanted to go alter that stop, you can't do it. It's locked up. All you can do as a client is start and stop. You can't alter orders, you can't alter stops, just like the broker at Ninja can't do it for you. If you want to get out of the system, you can get out of the system, because we've had that too. Well, look, it's an intraday system, I'm trading the Dow, I want to keep that thing overnight. I'm going to call my broker at Ninja. No, they have no control. At the end of the day, you will be out. If you want to do that trading on your own, you have another related account, because again, our goal is to be systematic. On the performance page, this is going to show you, so this particular client, he's up about $3,000. The second column is the systems are up $4,300. And it shows him, so he made two different changes where he got out early for whatever reason, and he cost himself $1,300. So we show clients that. Look, if you would have set this up and went and played golf, you'd be up $4,300. Since you decided, you know, for whatever reason, and again, we have clients that do better than the systems as well. I'm not saying that, but we show that to them, because I've had clients call me and be like, look, I want to, can you look at my account? Sure. Well, I'm down, $6,000. I'm like, okay, let's look at your account. I'm like, well, yeah, well, you've cost yourself $10,000 in trying to outperform the system. So that's almost like an educational thing. And again, no one ever questions why you start a system. That's 100% up to you. You're never going to hear from your broker. You're never going to hear from anyone, but they kind of sometimes is a telltale of sometimes, to take my emotions out of it and let the systems do a thing, it can be better, because at least you're going to be more consistent. Does that mean that you're smarter or dumber in the system? No, but again, we're about consistency, we're about transparency and confidence in the platform. We also show you what your liquid balance, what your total required, and what your buying So, and this is live, so this is going to flash every single time you start and stop a system. Your required capital is going to change, your balance is going to change all the time. So here, to me, again, this is my personal belief, because clients, so I have some clients who'll put $25,000 in an account, they're going to have $20,000 in required capital. Well, their suggested capital is probably $150,000 to $200,000, so they're taking on extra leverage, and again, that's up to them. To me, I tell clients, look, your required capital should be about 25%, give or take 5% of your total balance, because you got to be able to sit through the drawdowns. Drawdowns are happening. There's, you're not going to make money every day. You're going to lose. You could lose money on more days than you make money, but it's being consistent. So then it also shows you your buying power. So clients can come in, and a lot of clients too, once they get used to this, and I always try to, if I contact a client, like, hey, look, you got $25,000 in account, you've got, $21,000 in total required capital. Again, you're driving the car. I'm not telling you what to do, but either you're going to get deactivated and you're going to miss trades. So either lower your total required capital or send in more money, right? I mean, and again, it's a discussion with the client that I have, and it's totally up to them. But we try to, again, be as transparent as possible on that. Questions?
Yeah, we definitely got some questions here for you, Walter. Keith R. asks, how do you know what the system's parameters for the trade are?
You don't, because it's fully automated. And that's another thing people ask us is like, well, what kind of due diligence do you do on the developers? Well, we don't really care to an extent, and I say that we care immensely because they have to send us the code. They give us the code, we lock it down. So at that point, we don't even need to speak to the developers ever again. If we accept their system, it's not that we accept their system because we think it's great, or it might not be a great system, whatever it is, it's because it's locked down. We've got a protocol we take it through to make sure that, it is systematic, we're getting signals, they verify it. Then at that point, they're out of the loop. And that's another thing. When people look at multiple systems, you might see different versions of the system. And so with that is, if a developer makes changes, and again, they could be totally innocent on making a change if, they're adapting to the market because it's changed to the parameters, well, they have to tell us why they're making the change. If it's not a material change, something very small, then we'll update the code. I mean, that's fine. If it's something that changes performance, well, then we post a new version. So that's why you'll see new versions of the systems. And I have some developers that will do a new version every 3 months, and you'll notice every time they get a new version, it automatically, the performance turns green right away, because those particular clients believe in, wow, it's a new system, it's been curve fit to the market, hopefully it's going to do well over the next 3-4 months, I want to jump on that train, boom. Others will want to wait until they have some more live performance to have verification, or wait till it goes into a drawdown again. So picking a system is a philosophy or a science, but that's how if someone comes with the new version, they have to submit it to us, they have to tell us why. We have a correlation matrix that we do internally between the performance, and that's how we'll then post the new system. I can see a few questions. Why are the commissions higher? Because it's the full package. I mean, to me, we build in all the performance, we build in everything. You're getting access to 1,300 fully automated systems that you can pick and choose from, that you have a team of people. I've got 24 people in Madrid, Spain. That's where my main office is, where we follow this stuff 24 hours a day. So you're paying for the whole package, And that's another thing. When developers come to me and say, okay, well, this system, I need a $5 rate for it to be profitable. Well, first of all, if you need a $5 rate for a system to be profitable, it's probably not going to be profitable. It's just my experience. But you're paying for the whole package, but we've included all that cost into what we're offering as an entire platform. What do I see here? I'm kind of bouncing around. So lease fees are set by the developers. So and the developers, we explain to them, some lease fees are $50, some are $300. As a client, that really shouldn't deter you because it's built in to the performance, but the higher lease fee is gonna affect the performance that we post. but they come up with all the lease fees. We only control the commission side of it.
Walter,
Any
William
more
D was
questions?
asking, do systems limit the number of users?
So yes and no. So when we first started this years ago, we would have a control matrix because we got over 100, 150 contracts. We're trading in the pit. We weren't as electronic as we were because we would base that off of the amount of slippage that we got from the system. Now that the markets are electronic, yes, we still follow that matrix, but at this point we've had no reason to shut down a system. But yes, we monitor that. If it gets to a point where we're getting, and it's all about slippage. If we get too much slippage and we're seeing that slippage, then we would close systems and create a waiting list. But we haven't had that. And someone says, well, when's that day happen? Well, volume numbers keep getting higher. Trading keeps more efficient. We're way more worldwide. I don't know if that number will ever happen because, again, a lot of people, if they jump on the highest performing system that's making the most money and it goes into a drawdown, then all those people chasing performance get off it. So it's like a pendulum, if you will. Spanish, yes. So right now we're in 3 languages, Spanish and Italian in the upper right hand. We are in the process of translating to a number of other languages. So actually my developers, just to really go backwards, I was running systems in the U.S. I met a guy in Madrid, Spain about 17 years ago. He was running systems in Europe on Eurex systems, and that's how we met. And so essentially that's where my team is, where my developer is. We run an FCM there, so we understand the trading side of it and the execution side of it. So everything we have is in those 2 different languages. As far as developers, so if you are a developer and interested in possibly putting your system on the platform, contact Ninja. We've got a process to take you through. Remember, you have to factor in the costs. You have to factor in lease fees. You have to factor in slippage. And so if you're running back testing on like the E-mini, I say you should put in at least $25 for slippage and commission. Again, is that high? Yes, but for us, I rather stress the system with higher fees because that's what we're going to do when we post the performance anyways, than come in with under fees. Another question I get is, are we high frequency? Absolutely not. And that's where you can go look at the trade by trade and the percent time it's in the market. So you can see, how many trades it does, how many trades it does in a month. Typically systems can trade, 1 to maybe 3 times a day, but we post all the trade by trades in there. So can you change the number of contracts? Go ahead.
There's one back from David J. asking, so are these systems live or on simulator? I know you sort of touched on it earlier, but can you elaborate a little more for clarification?
Well, absolutely. So here, so this back tested, so the tracked, it's being simulated. So now we're simulating. No one's trading it. We're tracking it. Or maybe the Dow one was longer. So we are, so I think the Dow one, let me just go back to, so for this system, it was on simulation for almost 1.5 years before someone decided to trade it. So it was live simulation, which is tracked until someone went live. And that's another question I get. Do we give out demo accounts? No. There's no reason for a client to have a demo account. Starting and stopping is a 2-step process. You do it once or twice. It's a no-brainer. It's real simple. Demo accounts, we feel those clients are trying to see live trades. They're trying to jump in front of things. They're trying to be, sneaky. So there's no reason for it. If you have a favorite of a system, you highlight the favorite. At the end of the day, you can see what it's done that day. You can follow along and virtually within a day. What was the other question I think I missed here?
There's one last one in there from Alex S. Can I change the number of contracts?
Oh. So yes, you can. So if you go to So if you're here, change multiplier. First you extend the license, then you change the multiplier. Absolutely. And that's another thing. I mean, I had a conversation with a client the other day. He's trading 10 contracts of the same system. I'm like, why? I mean, if you really like the system, I'm not telling you to stop or do anything. It's all about diversification. You know, you want some day trading exposure because you don't have overnight exposure. Less time in the market, less risk, technically speaking. You know, because you don't have overnight risk, but you want to make some. You want to have some sort of, you know, diversified. You know, an E-mini, a crude, non-correlated markets in a sense, but you want to spread yourself out because, again, you know, no one complains when things are making money, but when they're losing money, you've got to sit through those times. You know, you got to be able to trade another day. And if you're finding yourself being too aggressive, you got to slow it down. You want to be around for years to come, not for, you know, 2 or 5 days down the road. So yes, so every contract is paid per contract. So if you look at any, whatever, if you pull up this system, so this is all everything is per contract. So this is $95 per contract. If you activate the system, some of them will give you a flex fee, where if you trade more than one contract, they'll give you a discount. But everything is per contract. So here again, oh, here's another thing. So this system's only back-tested 2016. A couple other systems we were back to 2007, 2008, whatever it is. So the back testing is up to the developer. And here's the reason why. I don't necessarily agree with it, just so you know. But a lot of developers say, look, you know, the E-mini market that over 2 years ago, that's noise. That's not how the market trades today. The volume numbers are different. The execution lines are different. Everything's different. So why would I show someone noise going back all the way to 2001? To me, I like to see as much data as possible, but it kind of makes sense in a way. So they control the number of years backwards of how much that to show as far as performance. But here's the same thing. It was given to us in November. December, no one traded. People jumped on, and hopefully they jumped on because it was losing money, and they maybe heard one of my webinars and thought it was a good time to start, and we got lucky. But we don't know. I mean, that's the whole thing. You don't know. But you can break these numbers down by looking up here. And that's another thing. You can see what your scatter drawdowns are. What everyone always goes to the profit when people need to focus on the drawdown, because the drawdown is the focus, is the reality of the situation, right? Because you're never going to quit making money. You're going to quit when you're losing money. Well, if you're losing money, why are you quitting? If you started the system and the system's down $2,000 and you quit, well, why? Why did you start in the first place? The worst drawdown is $5,000. We have to be able to expect that. So in reality, you probably should have started trading the system in the first place because it was too much risk for you. You know, if you quit for other reasons, again, that's up to you, and no one's going to question you. But that's where, you know, having the realization of trading comes into play. You know, but a lot of people will tell me, well, look, yeah, I've got 50,000 in the account, but I got 150 over in this other account, so I'm going to trade this as I want. Hey, I'm not going to tell you to trade it any different. It's up to you. You're the client. But those are the things that I talk to people about and bring up with them. So I could go on for hours, and I think we're already going up to an hour, AJ. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you. If there's any more questions, you know, if there are questions, you guys really, the AJ and the team, they know what's going on. They know what we're doing here. I highly recommend you reach out to them. Reach out to them. Ask for the PDF I keep talking about. Join the Algo revolution. It really breaks things down. It's about 10 pages. It won't kill you. You know, I think that'll really, really help giving you guys an idea of what you're looking at. So
we really appreciate you spending the time to come in and present to our group. That was great. Let me get up to the right place here. So if you currently have a NinjaTrader brokerage account, you will need to open another account to trade the systems. It's easily accomplished by just completing an additional account request form. You know, feel free to reach out to me if you wanted to get that process started. I can send you the form. If you don't already have an account with NinjaTrader brokerage, then it's the standard new account opening process. You get started by completing the online application for one of our clearing partners. We work with both Phillip Capital and Dorman Trading. You go to ninjatrader.com/open account, select Systems for the account type, and then choose your FCM. Systems trading is supported on all account types, including IRA accounts, corporate accounts, LLC accounts, trust accounts, joint, individual, etc. Once complete, you simply fund the account. It does need to be separate funding from any existing account you have, and then you'll get a login. You can go into the NinjaTrader iSystems site and select the system or systems you want to run. All the trades are then executed automatically through your NinjaTrader brokerage account. If we did miss any questions, or if additional questions come up, you want to find out more, feel free to reach out to me directly at any time. I'd be happy to help. There's my direct phone line, 312-262-1229, and my email, aj.wustefeld@ninjatrader.com. If anyone wants the PDF that Walter had mentioned earlier, just shoot me a quick email. I'll send you a copy of it. It's pretty nice. They did a good job putting it together with us. One more time, the link to the NinjaTrader iSystems platform is just ninjatrader.isystems.com. I would like to thank everyone for joining the webinar today. We certainly appreciate your time and attention. It's pretty clear there are many advantages and opportunities to trading systems, and hopefully I'll be hearing from many of you soon. Thanks again, and take care.